All right, guys. So Oklahoma State, Mike Gundy, the Big 12, they're out here making moves, and it's pretty ironic because they had this guy named Adam Schobel, who's from Columbus, Texas. Like, they had Oklahoma State, ironically, had a kid committed, Schobel, who I think his dad or uncle played at TCU, but then his cousin, quarterback, committed in 25. Then his cousin Luke, I believe, committed to Texas Christian University. So it's so what a wild predicament, because TCU ends up taking an Oklahoma State commit, and then Oklahoma State just took a TCU commit, Hos Henji. And I believe that Hauss is probably going to be the starter next year. He's going to be out there competing with Sam Jackson. Sam Jackson is also a transfer. But I'm a huge, huge fan of this move. I mean, this guy's a 6-foot quarterback. He has a big arm. He's very, very mobile. He has all the intangibles. He even got on the field for TCU in packages here, along with Josh Hoover. So Oklahoma State, guys, is going to be so, so different. Like Mike Gundy, the thing about Mike Gundy and why Gundy got burned is because he thought he had a great roster this year, but he really didn't. And then he struggled finding an offensive coordinator. And now he hired, I believe, Doug Meachum from TCU to run the offense. So he tried to hire this guy, Brian Nardo, who is from Gannon University in Pennsylvania. And Brian Nardo's a smart guy. I think that Oklahoma State under-recruited, but Nardo's young. He was a D2 guy, and it almost was like the coordinator of Penn State, who ended up getting let go last year, an offensive coordinator whose name is dang escaping me. So I'm going to go Mike Yurchich. So Mike Gundy has gone down the D2 route of trying to find these gems at the D2 level, and a lot of times it's hit pretty big for Mike Gundy, a lot of times throughout his career. Now, what I would do if I was Gundy, because now Gundy's he's been at Oklahoma State for 22 years, and now the Big 12's expanded, and it was an embarrassing year for Mike Gundy. They were projected to be one of the best teams in the Big 12. They go out there, Oklahoma State, and they get veteran coaches. They go out there and get Dan Mullins, DC, Todd Grantham. All right. Todd Grantham is back. Todd spent a lot of time at Florida, spent a little bit of time at Mississippi State. Very aggressive defensive coordinator. Did all right at Florida, had his moments, but is very, very experienced. And then they go out and they get Meachum from TCU that is also very experienced. So they're out here, they're getting experienced coaches to go to Oklahoma State. All right. And it's a complete staff overhaul for the Oklahoma State Cowboys. In fact, I just think it's interesting because I think Hos Henji is going to come in there. I think that he can be a really, really solid Big 12 quarterback immediately. He's a winner. Guy won a state championship. He's 6 foot tall. He's mobile quarterback, has great fundamentals. To me, he was a high 4-star quarterback. Think of a Connor Shaw, or think of a great undersized college quarterback. Think of almost like Trace McSorley style. Think of a 6-foot quarterback who's pretty mobile, who can play. All right, so Oklahoma State, I'm going to pull up their coaches. Now, their portal's been a little bit slower than I want to say Central Florida. But this staff is going to be fun. And they haven't really updated the staff. I'm going to get the offensive coordinator again because it's TCU, man. Doug Meachum. It is TCU. Doug Meachum's been around the block. So they got vets on the staff. You got veterans, man. Meachum's 60 years old. I'm loving this for Oklahoma State. And Hos Henji, again, so I'm excited for Oklahoma State. They're adding a little bit in the portal. I don't think that they're as extended as Texas Tech, as even UCF, who's adding like 15 players in the portal. So, but Hos Henji, one of my favorite quarterback commits in this class, goes to Oklahoma State, as it's a whole turnover there in Stillwater, Oklahoma. It's going to be an interesting year for Mike Gundy. This is kind of like, could it be a last stand of all sorts? But he's going with people that he trusts, with veterans. He's going with veterans. We're not at the point where we're on a real heater and we can go out there and be super creative with our hires. This is Mike Gundy needing to win and win at all costs, and needs to hire veterans. And really, for Todd Grantham, who was with Dennis Allen, I think that he can pick up some new tricks defensively. And I've seen older defensive coordinators come into college football. You see Wink Martindale. You see in the National Football League, Vic Fangio. So there's, Tom Allen's doing pretty well at Penn State, actually, in some spots. So you see some old DCs pick up some new tricks and be able to ball out. I mean, Jim Knowles, another example. So Todd Grantham could maybe come in and really wreak havoc on the Big 12 conference. So I like some of these hires of Oklahoma State. I like the route that Gundy's going. It makes a lot of sense because you went out there with Brian Nardo. You're trying to get all these gems. Then it's like, you know what? I want to get some trusted assistants that have been in this thing a long time, and I want to pay them and get them to Stillwater. And that's what's going on with Mike Gundy and this Oklahoma State organization.